ambitious protagonist is a crucial role in any series. But who would they be without a formidable adversary? The villain is often the sole source of tension in every anime. They make or break the premise of the story, and define how the main character comes to understand their true power and purpose. Heroes are essential. When it comes to a great anime, there is always an iconic villain elevating them to new heights. After all, a lovable hero would be nothing without a ruthless antagonist. Be mindful, this video contains spoilers. Here are our top picks for the top 10 anime villains of all time. Number 10. Touichirou Suzuki from Mob Psycho 102. What could be more villainous than causing mass destruction with no real goal in mind? Touichirou Suzuki just doesn't care. His only real goal is to get stronger. Known as Boss, he is the leader of a worldwide terrorist organization of espers, humans with psychic abilities. He and his followers intend to overthrow the government and eventually take over the world with the power of Touichirou. He is one of the most powerful espers introduced into the series, and has almost unlimited powers, such as telekinesis, psychic energy blasts, gravity control, and control over the psychic energy of others. He has traveled the entire world and was unable to find a single esper capable of matching him. When he faced Mob, he was only defeated because he overloaded on his own psychic energy. This egocentric, smug character has no legitimate motive behind his plan, aside from his thirst for power, which is evident when he tries to absorb Mob's abilities. Suzuki has no real desire to be a leader, or form a new way of life throughout the world. He merely wants to leave his mark and become infamous. Number 9. Dio Brando from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Charming, manipulative, and absolutely sadistic, the son of a shameless criminal, Dio lives up to the example he was raised under. He was brought up with a singular core belief: do whatever it takes to ensure your own survival, and has abided by this belief throughout his entire life. After his mother's passing, his contempt for the world grew beyond comprehension. His vampiric powers transcend time, space, and even reality itself. Dio does not take any form of disrespect lightly, since he truly believes himself to be on a higher level than any and everyone. Stealing, killing, and utter betrayal, he does whatever it takes to get ahead. In the first few episodes alone, he throws a dog into a furnace, poisons his adoptive father to collect his inheritance, then nearly unleashes a vampire horde onto 19th century England just to advance his ambitions. Talk about apathy. He survives for several generations, using his vampiric powers to kickstart a brand new threat to the world over a century later. As Dio becomes more analytical later on in the series, his primary downfall is his overconfident nature. Instead of dealing with the Joestars along with their allies immediately, he is often caught up in the theatrics of his plots, more so how he can make a statement, paying dearly for it every time. Despite this, when Dio takes center stage as the series villain, it's difficult not to become captivated by his absurd sense of confidence. Number 8. Sosuke Aizen from Bleach. The definition of a scheming mastermind, Sosuke Aizen is calculated, cunning, and always ready with a backup plan if anything was to ever fail. Introduced to us as the captain of the 5th Division, he initially portrayed himself as one of the most pacifist Soul Reapers, hiding ambitions to overthrow the Order of the Soul Society to escalate his powers. All the while he waited patiently, plotting and examining any possible hindrance to his plans. The birth of Ichigo Kurosaki, the story's main protagonist, came as a little surprise to Sasuke. He even went as far as factoring Ichigo into his plans with the intent of using this wildcard to his own advantage. He framed Kisuke for the creation of the Wizards, ultimately having Kisuke exiled. It became apparent that his humility and warmth was merely a facade, designed to draw suspicion away from his true sinister intentions. He sees his subordinates as pawns, tactfully manipulating them in order to get what he wants. Aizen even goes as far as warning them in advance to never trust him. He admits to viewing characteristics such as morality or humility as weaknesses that must be expunged to reach one's full potential. He has never hesitated to kill in order to further his goals, mercilessly killing Ichigo's friends from school in an effort to undermine his attempts. After fusing the whole Gyoko into himself, Aizen gains an entirely new form of arrogance and believes himself to be invincible. He discards his typical calm, collected nature, becoming consumed with rage while fighting Ichigo. The tendency to underestimate his adversaries ultimately leads to his downfall. Even with his powers dwindling, it took nearly an entire cast of Soul Reapers to truly defeat and imprison him. Number 7. Vicious from Cowboy Bebop. Vicious was initially Spike's partner in the Red Dragon crime syndicate, until they spiraled into a conflict over their shared love interest, Julia. After Spike's supposed death, Vicious left the Red Dragons to briefly fight in the Titan Wars of 2068. His motivation for enlisting was still unclear, but his testimony tied to being a soldier helped him to frame Gren, his squad mate, as a spy, which heightens the possibility that he himself may have been involved in military espionage. Vicious firmly believes that he's the only one who can awaken Spike's true potential, because Spike is the only one who can do the same for him. Their history together is long and complicated. Not much is known about Vicious's past. He is shrouded in mystery. His deceptive, power-hungry attitude has often resulted in him being depicted as a venomous snake. Despite the other characters' criminal backgrounds, Vicious is the last person to be trusted. His weapon of choice has always been a katana, even when fighting against opponents with guns. Murder, kidnapping, robbery, and his vengeful rage knows no bounds. Although he is rough around the edges, he has shown himself to possess a degree of mental sophistication, and is capable of using his charisma to get what he wants. At the end of the day, Vicious is a spiteful character without a glimmer of happiness or hope inside him. He allows his seething hatred and jealousy-driven ambitions to consume him. The best way to define Vicious is by his own name. He's a bloodthirsty mercenary. Number 6. Griffith from Berserk. Have you ever met someone who's so good at lying to themselves that you can't even argue with them because their perception of the truth is so absurd? If not, allow me to introduce you to Griffith. This peasant grew up to lead his own band of mercenaries, and his self-driven attitude has allowed him to pursue those desires with unparalleled efficiency. No matter the obstacle, he found a way to overcome it, whether that meant facing an entire army or assassinating a world leader, rapidly growing his following of marauders who were more devoted to him than he ever was to them, which ultimately resulted in their demise. When his ambitions resulted in imprisonment and torture, they relentlessly sacrificed themselves in an attempt to free him. That devotion simply wasn't enough for Griffith. When presented with the opportunity to become a demon in order to continue the pursuit of his dreams, he accepts it with no hesitation, although it meant sacrificing every one of his friends, followers, and allies. In this form, his power is even further maximized, becoming nearly unstoppable. Superficial charm, devotion to what he believes is best for humanity, and an extremely polarizing personality wrapped up in a merciless, selfish package. Personal vendettas have prevented him from maintaining any sense of ethics, though. As far as Griffith is concerned, he's done nothing wrong. Number 5. Frieza from Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Z Fusion Reborn. Frieza undoubtedly takes the cake as Dragon Ball Z's most infamous villain. Unlike Vegeta, there isn't an ounce of goodness or sympathy within this alien emperor. Backed up by legions of soldiers and nearly unmatched potential to maximize his power, Frieza exists in a state of pure cruelty and revels in any opportunity to show off his might. For his leisure, he crushes the strongest warriors on various planets and obliterates entire civilizations on a regular basis. The various forms he is capable of taking are nearly limitless in their power, making him unpredictable. There's no one Frieza despises quite like the Saiyans, and the only goal he shares throughout the series is his desire to drive them to extinction. He nearly wipes out their entire race when he eradicated their home planet with just one blast. Frieza tortured Gohan, killing Goku's father Bardock, Piccolo, Krillin, Kaba, King Vegeta, poor innocent Dende, and many other beloved characters in the series. He would have killed Goku had Vegeta not intervened, but even Vegeta was killed by Frieza in his final form. No one had hope of defeating him until he met the Z Warriors, and even they struggled to defeat him as he continued to spread his evil influence across the galaxies. Frieza's merciless, power-hungry ambition knows no bounds. Thank you for joining us on part 1 of our top 10 anime villains. Subscribe to our channel Mind Adventure for our part 2, coming soon.